Tiger.
Any opportunity I get to sit down with Lee here, we love to just get together and share ideas and just talk. Because one of the things that we've been discussing recently is how Hockey Tutorial, this thing that I wear literally like a tattoo on me everywhere I go. Hey guys, Richard. Chris from Hockey Tutorial here. How it went from me just posting videos online to it becoming my full-time career. And you know, it's not just me that's done this. There's other social media influencers like Pavel Barber and Jeremy that have also done the same thing, making a hobby their full-time job. Regardless of your involvement in the game, whether you play or not, if you want to make a life out of hockey, it is possible. One thing that I'm a big believer of is making sure that you recognize the people that helped you get to where you are. I never in a million years thought that I'd be able to do hockey as a full-time job, especially not being a professional coach or a player or any of those things. But for me, one of the things that I've always said is that this guy over here, I've seen him as not only a big brother figure, but also a mentor, because a lot of ideas I like to share with him to make sure that I'm on the right track. It's super important to have somebody, not somebody that you idealize, that you want to copy, somebody that you look up to that can guide you and help you stay on the right track. That's a super important thing, and that's exactly what this guy's been for me.
Thanks, man.
And I wanted to share his insight because this guy knows a lot more than he lets on, and I want some of that wisdom to be passed on to you guys, so you guys can hopefully do what you love full time. So I suppose the ultimate question is, what is your advice for people out there watching this that want to turn their passion into something?
Yeah, well, look, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Okay, one is that you have to love this game a lot, and one of the most things about hockey players is that hockey people love the game a lot. So that's right out of the way. The second thing is you got to be willing to work a lot, just as much as you love the game, and I'm talking morning to night. And if you're not willing to do that, it might not be for you. But I know how hard you worked. I know what I did when I was younger. It's not a sometime thing. It's an all the time thing. And if you have that really. And if you have that type of determination, and it's the same determination if you play what you put into the game. You can apply that to other things. I think that's one thing that people don't realize sometimes is as hard as you train, as hard as you play, as much as this game means to you, you can apply that passion to other things, whether it be school or work, really anything. And the thing is, when I was younger, everything I did was a stepping stone to hockey, right? So I worked jobs that had nothing to do with hockey. I went to university for broadcasting and sports management. It was all with my goal of, I want to get involved in this game. When I was a kid, that goal was I want to be a player. And as I got older, I just want to be working in the greatest sport of all time.
No, I agree. And I think that's another point I could probably add is it's a case of finding your place, because not everyone is destined to be a pro player. Not everyone is destined to be the best coach in the world. It's about finding where you fit within this world that is forever changing. Because like I said, a big part of it is remembering the opportunities that didn't exist a few years ago are just multiplying and being created out of nothingness. So that's the point, is make sure you find what your direction is, what your drive is, and stick to it. But aside from that, it's also finding people around you that help motivate, drive, and support what you're doing. That's a massive part in it, because I don't believe that anyone in this world gets anywhere without help from somebody, whether they're not willing to admit it or not.
It's funny you bring that up, because I take a team approach to everything, and trust is a huge thing for me. I trust you, you trust me, but we're in a community, right? And that's a team, and teamwork is so important to me in terms of how you accomplish goals and stuff like that, because you really can't do it by yourself, like you just said. There's always somebody helping you. Like-minded people tend to find each other. And that's the other thing, exactly. It's the point, we surround ourselves with lots of people in our lives, and I look for people that inspire me and motivate me, and will listen to me talk for 5 to 10 hours. And the point is you want to surround yourself with the right people. Mindset's everything, and we're both very inspired by the game. You're very passionate. We're very different people too, but we kind of fill each other's gaps. You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's just one of those things,
One of the craziest things that he said to me, going back 4 years ago, he said to me that CEOs will come to see you, and that was a sentence that, it's not that I didn't believe it, it just didn't make sense at the time. I was like, why the hell would a CEO take the time to come and see me?
You're doing a terrific job, I'm super impressed.
I've got to point out that he is a CEO of multiple companies, including Hockey Wraparound, so it's true. But aside from that, he said that to me, and what I wanted to ask was, what made you think that was going to happen? What did you see in me that made you suggest that would happen?
Yeah, Chris, one of the things about hockey is that its passion has no bounds. And I could see that you love the game, doing what you did, just as much as I love it or anybody else loves it. And when you're able to focus that passion a certain way, which you did, it grows into something. You know, you planted a seed 4 years ago, and I could just see what it was going to become. You know, you're becoming a trustworthy person online. You were influencing people online, and the way things were changing, it made complete sense to me that people were going to come to you instead of going to big commercials to get their message out there. And you know, that's what you do. You know, you share messages, you share information, you inspire people.
That's awesome, man. Thank you, Dave.
But it's the truth. I mean, and the thing is, I think that trust is a really important thing, especially not just in our industry, but all industries. You know, with you guys know this. You get what you get with him. It's not fake. It's not, you know, you're not BSing anybody, right? Like, it is what it is.
No, true.
And
you guys know me. I am who I am.
That's what people want, and that's the truth. I mean, the audiences are smart. You guys know when someone's not telling you the truth, and you had those things. You had that. You had a drive. That's another thing that's really important. I mean, you really love this game, and
I do.
You had a passion. I always come back to that word passion. If you love something enough, you can turn it into something, and you did that.
Before we even get into it, we're at Wildwoods in Peterborough, and it was great.
Delicious.
Just had to say that. For anyone that's trying to make something that they love, everything.
Their life. Yeah.
Their life.
Yeah.
What is the main hurdle that you think that they have to get over?
You know, it's an acceptance of failure. That you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail, and you can't fear that. You know, failure is a natural part of life, and I always say, you know, you have to grow from failure. Failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and if you can approach failure like that, you'll be amazed at how quickly you'll learn. All right. The other thing too is to be a sponge. Right. I always say to people, like, you know, the things that I'm good at because I've had good mentors, but I've also learned from people who've done things what I consider the wrong way. You know, coaching, for example, you know, I've had good coaches, I've had bad coaches. They've all taught me something about my approach to the game. So that type of ability to take in knowledge and learn and apply it is important. You know, it's not unlike the game. You know, we win and lose on the ice, all right? But it's how you respond to losing, which is what makes you who you are. That's how you get your identity as a team. It's the same thing individually. You know, how you respond to failure is what makes you who you are.
Don't be scared to fail.
You cannot be scared to fail.
It's going to happen.
It's 100%. It's a guarantee you will fail.
Even it's how you bounce back.
Absolutely, 100%.
But here's another one, because even for me, for example, when I first started doing this, there's so many people that told me, why do you post those videos? Nobody's going to watch them. They're stupid. I mean, even right now, we're in the middle of a restaurant. We're filming a video. There's people around us. There's people around us looking at us like, what the hell are we doing? But I don't care. Yeah. This is what I'm doing. This is what I like to do. I don't care what anyone around me thinks. And that's a massive part of it. That's something that you really have to kind of get used to, because it's...
It's true. Look, my whole life, your whole life, why are you playing hockey? You're never going to make a life out of it. Why are you doing videos? You're never going to make a life out of it. Why are you doing it? If that's what you want to do, don't let anybody stand between you and your dream. If you got a dream, they don't have to support your dream, but they should support your right to have a dream, all right? If you dream. But you got to put the work in. You got to put the time in. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to be willing to kind of take whatever hits and stuff come your way. That's the difference, all right? Everyone has a dream at some point. Are you going to let it be crushed, or are you going to go forward with it? That's the question you have to answer.
So lunch is done now. Back to the office. I just wanted to show you that there's a microphone on this FD1 from CCM. Completely unintentional plug, but we're using this skate as a microphone.
That's how you do things at Hockey Tutorial, I thought.
It's kind of how we have to do it. So how did you know that hockey was your calling? Like, at what point did you discover this was your calling?
You know, I think around 14 or 15 is when I realized that this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And I just started making decisions based on that. So when I went to college, or university as you call it here, I went right to broadcasting, thinking maybe I'll get involved in the broadcast side of the game. And then eventually I got a master's in sports management, which got me into the business side of the game. And then that got me into the writing side of the game. So I just surrounded myself with anything I could to stay involved in the game. And sometimes that meant doing jobs that had nothing to do with the game. But I'd be a sponge, and I'd always ask myself, how can I apply what I'm doing here to my goals in the game? And, you know, I get a pretty great life now. I mean, I'm surrounded by the game all the time. I'm in England with you at Hockey Tutorial headquarters. It doesn't get much better than this. So
that's awesome. That's a good answer.
It does get better than this.
In case you guys don't know, like, he has 2 published books.
I don't talk about that a lot.
First book.
Yeah.
Second book.
It's a better cover. I like that cover. It's a hockey cover. That's not me.
Look at this guy on the back. I know the first book, Think Like a Fan, encompasses a lot of the elements that you've learned in hockey. But with your second book, what are you giving back to the hockey community with that book?
Yeah, so like you said, the first book was really like a business book about how to help organizations kind of figure out how to build the fan base. So I always joke that comes from my brain. The second book came from my heart. So the second book is my philosophy on how to create a team culture, which in sports leads to a championship culture. All right. And it's really focused on the idea that like a team bond is essential to winning, no matter what winning is to you. Like winning could be winning games, championships, or just in business. So I wanted to put something together that explained a step-by-step guide on how to create a team and then maintain that team, which I'm finding out now is something that really wasn't out there before. In fact, I didn't want to write it at first because I thought this is something people know, and then in my experiences in the game, I realized this is really needed.
No,
this is something.
Yeah, for sure. It's not something. I don't think it's a skill that a lot of people pick up as they go or they make their way or make a career in hockey. It's something that you kind of have to be enlightened to.
Yeah, and it's funny is I wasn't expecting this. It transcends hockey, right? Like. You realize that teams are needed everywhere, in everything, every sport, every business adventure, everything, even just friendships.
Family, at home.
Everything, yeah. And it's like, I realized that this book really started to transcend the game to a point, but it's very hockey-centric and when it comes back down to it. But yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in it. This one really was something that like is really personal to me and that I wanted to share. And like to be able to like, actually hold it in my hand, I call it the manual as a joke to people. It's like, it's an amazing feeling.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
It's a tough question. I've received a ton of advice in my life from a lot of different influential people and some not influential people. But there was a point I remember that in my career where things were really down, like it was really at the bottom, and I wanted to give up. I'm not going to lie to you. And someone told me, whatever you do, don't give up. They said, follow through, and if it doesn't work out, you still want to give up, but don't stop now. And I didn't. That motivated me to kind of get up and keep going, and it changed my life. Had I not done that, I would have probably been done. So, it's okay to take that helping hand sometimes and to be motivated sometimes. Even when you think there's no hope, there's always something there. But it's just don't stop. Don't stop no matter what. If you have a dream, don't stop. Follow through with your dream.
I got a pretty similar kind of note. My one was just keep uploading.
Upload. I like that. That's the perfect one for you.
that was the best advice I was given. Just
keep uploading. I like that.
Yeah,
YouTube likes that too, by the way.
It does.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for these guys?
The ones watching at home?
Yeah. What advice would you give these guys?
Look, my whole life I was told they can't do it. And if you're watching this, you're probably being told that too. Don't listen to any of that. All right? If you feel that fire inside your body, and you know what I'm talking about, especially for this game, believe in it. And don't let anybody take it away. And the further you get, the more people are going to try and extinguish that flame. You got to keep it burning all the time. All right? You do that all the time. You're a perfect example of that. Just keep the dream alive. Keep the hope alive and keep going no matter what. That's honestly my advice. Just don't let anybody tell you can't do what you want to do. And
aside from that, I think we touched on this earlier on again, but surround yourself with like-minded people. There is nothing better than that. We've been able to build such an amazing group of friends that are all over the world that have that same burning desire to do what we do, and being surrounded by them. I saw a quote that was train hard until your idols become your rivals, and I personally don't believe in that. I think that's wrong. I think it's better to be inspired to work harder by the people that you admire and that you look up to. And obviously a sense of healthy competition is good, but being motivated by what somebody else is doing is a much better way than having the mindset of trying to become better than them. So it's about coexisting and just surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah, it reminds me of another quote. I used to tell my players, we practice hard so the games are easy. And that's not about rivals, right? You have to work. I mean, that's the other big advice. I mean, you have to put the time in. It's an all the time thing if you want to do some stuff in this game. But practice hard so the game is easy. I always applied that to life, and it kind of works.
Don't be scared to ask for help, because that's one thing I've seen. It's not something that's just in hockey. Something that I've seen in life in general.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel that asking for help makes them less of a person. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I ask for help all the time. Before I make big decisions, I ask this guy, dude, what do you think about XYZ? He gives me feedback, and I think about what I want to do.
It's XYZ in America.
XYZ, because we're in England right now. But,
sure.
but seriously, guys, don't be scared to ask for help. And ask for guidance. If there are people out there that are doing something similar that you want to be doing, don't look at them as competition. Ask them for advice. I'm not asking you to tell them, how did you get to where you got to and let me rip you off. No.
Be inspired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important. And I think, idols and inspirations are slightly different. Idealizing somebody is a little different to being inspired by them, because I think being inspired by somebody triggers action. It makes you want to push, want to get to the next point. So don't be afraid to ask for help. I do it all the bloody time, and so does he as well.
Yeah, no, I have people.
Everybody asks for help.
Yeah.
Coffee break.
Coffee break.
Chris.
One of the things to keep in mind when you're trying to get involved in the game is that you want to try different things, right? Like, there's a lot of different ways to get involved in ice hockey, from playing to coaching to writing to broadcasting to equipment to anything you can think of. So, I always tell the students when I coach colleges, it's like your major, right? If you hate your major, and I mean hate it, I don't mean you don't like the work. I mean you hate your major, don't keep doing it. Change your major, because you're going to spend the rest of your life doing something you hate. So try different things within the game. Try different aspects of the game. Find out what works for you, and then donate your time into that and build yourself and your expertise and become a valued asset in that part.
Back to work. Any questions that you do have that we haven't answered in this video, post them down below, because we are going to be doing a Q&A together again. So we'll be able to answer anything that you have on your mind that you feel that we may be able to guide you with. So post any of your questions down below.
Yeah, remember, this industry is changing and evolving all the time, but it's a community like we said. So let us know what you want to do to help us grow this industry and grow this community. Really, we're just two people, right? There's millions of you out there. So it's really a group effort. So let us know.